This conference will now be recorded.
Okay. All right, so it still looks like we have some people still joining us. All right, guys, so as I'm getting started, as I go along in this presentation, if you guys have any questions, there is a chat box where you guys can go ahead and throw your questions. If anything comes up as I'm going through the slide, go ahead and shoot those questions in there, and I'll go ahead and answer everybody's questions at the end of the presentation. Yeah, don't be shy. If you guys have any, if you guys think it's a stupid question, don't think it's a stupid question. Go ahead and just throw it up there. I'll answer you guys' question. I know some people are new to this, some people are not. Some people have some sort of knowledge to this. Some of you might be experienced, but I'm going to try to cover all kinds of things from a broad spectrum for people who are just getting into it or who are just hearing it, and maybe to those who are advanced, but you're going to have to wait towards the end of the video. So let's go ahead and get started. So first thing is first, as you guys know, I got to do this just in case, but I am not your financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. Make sure you guys also do your own research. I will be giving you guys information and for educational purposes and entertainment purposes as well. But always make sure that you guys do your own research, do your due diligence, and please contact a financial advisor if you like as well. So, all right, let's get started on the next slide. So what the fuck is Bitcoin? So Bitcoin is a consensus network that enables a new payment system and a completely digital money. It is the first decentralized peer-to-peer payment network that is powered by its users with no central authority or middleman. From a user's perspective, Bitcoin is pretty much like a cash for the internet. Bitcoin can be seen as the most prominent triple entry bookkeeping systems in the existence. So what does that mean? Pretty much what that means is that Bitcoin is a form of payment. If you want to buy something, you can actually use Bitcoins to buy, goods, or somebody who's providing you some services as well. It's also as a means of sending money to somebody at a different country. So if you want to send somebody money to Mexico, Japan, London, this was one of the ways in the beginning, people were sending money through Bitcoin. So also it talks about, a peer-to-peer payment. So what does that mean? That basically means is that you have a network of people who are working on the Bitcoin blockchain who are also authorizing transactions as well. And what they mean by no central authority or middleman is that no government entity or no bank actually has control over Bitcoin. That means not even a specific person has control over Bitcoin because it is a decentralized platform. So we'll go over that in a little bit more, but let's go over to who created Bitcoin. So the first Bitcoin specification and proof of concept was published in 2009 in a cryptography mailing list by Satoshi Nakamoto. Satoshi left the project in 2010 without revealing much about himself. The community has since grown exponentially with many developers working on Bitcoins. So who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Still to this day, nobody knows who is Satoshi Nakamoto. So I know a lot of people are a little skeptical about that because they say, all right, if I don't know who this person is, why can't I trust it? I think this is what actually gives one of the Bitcoins one of its real values is that there's nobody behind it. So had you known, say if a government created Bitcoin or a specific money hungry or greedy or some sort of political person or somebody that has some sort of ties to that is part of the 1%, right? That is one thing that they have no control over. So because of its anonymity and nobody knows who this person is, I think that's what has one of the true values of this. So nobody's really able to control it. No one's really able to manipulate Bitcoin, and still to this day, Bitcoin has not been manipulated, has not been breached, has not been hacked, and there's many different reasons for that, and we'll go over that in a little bit. But still to this day, Satoshi Nakamoto hasn't showed up. There are some people that are speculating who this person is, but nobody can say concrete who it really is. Some people say it's a woman, some people say it's a man, and I've even heard other people say that he is even somebody from the future. But let's go on to the next slide over here. And so let's talk about who controls a Bitcoin network. Nobody owns a Bitcoin network, much like no one owns the technology behind an email. Bitcoin is controlled by all Bitcoin users around the world. While developers are improving the software, they can't force a change in the Bitcoin protocol because all users are free to choose what software and versions they use. In order to stay compatible with each other, all users need to use software complying with the same rules. Bitcoin can only work correctly with a complete consensus among all users. Therefore, all users and developers have a strong incentive to protect this consensus. So because nobody owns the Bitcoin protocol, it is a decentralized network. Again, that's because nobody owns it. And because it is a decentralized network, everybody has, pretty much not necessarily an obligation, but everybody has an incentive to try to protect the Bitcoin network, and it's decentralized. So like how you have here on my screen, I show, two different types. You have centralized entities and decentralized entities. So a form of a centralized entity is like a bank, the Federal Reserve. And they can actually control and manipulate and do whatever they want with your money. And obviously, you folks know that when you actually deposit your money into a bank, they're actually using your money to make, themselves money and other people money, and not making you actual money. Also, the problem with decentralized entity is that you really don't they really don't have all the money to say if one day everybody wanted to go to the bank and withdraw all their money, those centralized entities don't really have enough money to basically accommodate everybody. And that's a big problem right there. But when you have a decentralized platform like how I show here on the right side of your screen, everybody has a part and everybody's playing a role, and everybody's pretty much checking each other's work and the network. And because of that, again, nobody can control, manipulate, or try to take over the Bitcoin protocol. I mean, there has been people, or there's been groups and people who try to hack the Bitcoin network, and it's never been successful because it is an encrypted network, because the way the blockchain works, and pretty much how secure the entire network is. Just like the internet, the way the internet works is a peer-to-peer network, and that basically means when I can connect to one computer and I connect to another computer, that's how you connect. That's how you create your network. So if you have 10 people already connected, then your network starts to grow. And it's the same thing with the Bitcoin network as well. The more people are connected, the harder it is to really take down the network, which at this point right now, it is really big. It is global. It is huge. I mean, it's almost, if you have to shut this down, it's like trying to shut down the internet. And we all know at this point, you really can't shut down the internet. The only thing that they can do is that your internet provider can then cut off your service, but you can always connect to a Wi-Fi and hop back onto the internet. Same thing with the decentralized network. Nobody can really turn it off. You can't. So that's also another great thing, in which makes Bitcoin very valuable as well. So how does Bitcoin work? From a user perspective, Bitcoin is nothing more than a mobile app or a computer program that provides a personal Bitcoin wallet and allows a user to send and receive Bitcoins with them. This is how Bitcoin works for most users. Behind the scenes, the Bitcoin network is sharing public ledger called the blockchain. This ledger contains every transaction ever processed, allowing a user's computer to verify the validity of each transaction. The authenticity of each transaction is protected by digital signatures corresponding to the sending address, allowing all users to have full control over sending Bitcoins from their own Bitcoin address. In addition, anyone can process this transaction using the computing power of specialized hardware and earn a reward in Bitcoins for this service. This is often called mining. So a few things we kind of want to dive into. So number one, we'll go into your Bitcoin wallet, and another thing to note is a blockchain. So a lot of you guys are now going to start hearing, as the year comes, a lot of tech companies, a lot of social media companies are going to start implementing what they call a blockchain, and that's probably one of the biggest technologies that's coming up, and it's also another thing that makes Bitcoin very valuable as well. So when they talk about signatures and validating transactions and making sure everything is authentic, what the network is also doing is preventing people from double spending, or or having somebody hack into the network and make duplicates of a coin. So every single coin that is created in the Bitcoin network is very unique, and it has pretty much all the public transactions recorded into a Bitcoin or a block. And these people who are in charge of the Bitcoin networks are called miners. And these miners, because they're mining and they're also validating transactions and making sure that each transaction is authentic, they get rewarded with Bitcoins. In 2010 or in 2011, when miners started making their own setup, I mean, these were guys were in their room, in their bedroom, just a bunch of nerds, pretty much, just putting computers together and running a Bitcoin network. And these guys were getting paid in Bitcoins. And at that time, for every and actually the way you get paid in Bitcoins is because each computer is solving a mathematical equation. So the blockchain, what it's doing every time, it's giving every computer a mathematical equation to solve. And once you solve that mathematical equation, you're now rewarded with a Bitcoin. At that time, I think people were probably getting like 5 Bitcoins a day. I could be maybe a little bit off, but I know at that time when it first started, people were mining Bitcoins a lot, and next thing you know, they probably had about 1,000 Bitcoins. And these guys, because these guys were part of the network, they made a really huge profit. But another thing to take in consideration is that mining does require a lot of power. As time goes on and the more Bitcoins are mined, the harder it is to mine. Basically, so these mathematical equations become harder and harder and harder and harder for these computers to solve, and they take longer to solve. And the more Bitcoins are mined, the less rewards they get. So if back then you were getting 10 Bitcoins a month to mine, then the network would cut that in half, only giving you 5 Bitcoins. Then another year would pass and you would get 1. So as time goes by, it does make it harder, but Bitcoin is going to be around for a very long time, but I'll get into that later on, in this session here. So this is kind of an example over here on how the Bitcoin network is working. So you have a bunch of computers that are all connected with one another, and each computer is also validating transactions, making sure that the Bitcoin network is safe and running and everybody's transactions are going through. Another thing is that because it is a decentralized platform, all the transactions are public. So let me just show you guys something really quick. Let me go back. And let me just show you guys something really quick over here. All right. So I'm over here on the Blockchain Explorer. And right now, I think you guys can see what I'm showing you. But you can see all these transactions that are happening over here. Okay. But you can see someone just sent $73,000, $173, $319, $2,000, $95,000. So these transactions just keep going. So it doesn't mean that, hey, I know. So actually, nobody knows who this person is. So when you click on this address, nobody knows who this person is, where they are, where they're from. It's just an address. So that's another great thing about Bitcoin, is that it's also, well, it's, some people can argue that it is anonymous. For the most part, it really is anonymous, and your information is not tied to this public address. And you can't take this address either and try to hack that person's, wallet to try to get their Bitcoins. So that's also another thing that's pretty big. So you can publicly see all these transactions that are happening. So again, that's a blockchain feature that a lot of people find very useful. So let's go back into the slides over here. So when people first started mining, this is when I was talking about how people would put their computers together. It's just a bunch of people putting all kinds of GPUs, which is a graphic cards that people would putting together, and they would go ahead and get connected to Bitcoin, to the blockchain, and start mining Bitcoins. Around 2010, this is how it pretty much looked like, and it just got more and more and more sophisticated. So there were some people who started off here, and now they have an entire huge, I wouldn't even call it a server room. They're basically called Bitcoin farms. And pretty much what you see here are little computers that are processing transactions, validating transaction, making sure every transaction is authentic, and at the same time, it's also mining Bitcoins, and also it's protecting the blockchain network as well, making it secure and making it a very trustworthy system. So as you can see, all over the world, most people are now, well, Russia is also mining, the USA is mining, China was mining too, but then the government kind of shut that down. But the thing is that even if a government were to shut down your mining, there's other people who do end up opening new mining farms. So you can't really try to shut this down, which is why a lot of countries are having a tough time trying to regulate this, which is why I think the USA has the upper hand on this one. China is kind of, there's a lot of people trading Bitcoins, but it's not, pretty much it's under the radar. India is having some problems too, but Europe, they're implementing this. They're all for it. The USA is all for it. Lots of other countries are for it. Japan is for it. Singapore, Malaysia. I mean, the list goes on. There are a ton of countries who are giving a thumbs up for people to go ahead and start mining Bitcoin and be able to run the blockchain network as well. So again, what is, what's a Bitcoin wallet? So just like how you have your regular wallet, how you can store your money, you can store pretty much your credit cards. It doesn't necessarily work like that, but what I'm saying is just like how you can store your money in a wallet, a Bitcoin wallet works just like that as well. So you can send Bitcoins from your wallet by using a public address. So this is what you can, someone would be able to scan your QR code and they can go ahead and send you Bitcoins. Or you can give them this address over here, which is just a bunch of letters and numbers that are randomly put together. But and so pretty much this address is what people use to go ahead and send you, pretty much Bitcoins. But again, people can't really hack inside your wallet. I'll get into that, how I'm pretty sure there's people out there, like, there's been scams out there, and there have been, but it's not because somebody was able to break into your wallet. That hasn't happened. Also, you do hold private keys to your wallet, and only you have those private keys to your wallet as well. In the past, people were able to have their Bitcoin wallets installed into their computers and their hard drives and thumb drives. But then that started becoming a problem because people were storing Bitcoins in these hard drives, and then they would lose their hard drives, or their hard drives were then wiped out. And then these people would lose their private keys. And then what would end up happening is now your Bitcoins are just lost. You can't retrieve them. There's no way to get them back unless you have your private keys. But I'll go a little bit more in that in the next slide. but that did start becoming a bit of a problem. But that's why let's get into where you can get your Bitcoin. So what ended up happening, because everybody was losing their wallets and people weren't, because at that time in 2010, 2011, again, people did take it serious, but at the same time, people were just, thought, oh, it's just, regular, just silly Bitcoin money. And people would just lose them. So what ended up happening as time went by, these people had like 100 Bitcoins in their wallet, 1,000 Bitcoins. Some people had like 15,000, 20,000 Bitcoins in their wallets, and it's gone. They can't get those back because either their hard drives have been destroyed, their hard drives have been wiped out, they lost their thumb drives. So what these people started, what ended up coming about are these exchanges. So now you can get your Bitcoins at Coinbase, Kraken, Binance, and Gemini. And they started providing this type of exchange, one, to sell you Bitcoins, but then also two, to also store your wallet onto their website as well, because that way people were not losing their wallets and they're not losing their Bitcoins as well. And some of these places, some of these platforms like Gemini, like Gemini, they're secure, but the only problem with Gemini is that you can't send Bitcoins and you can't receive Bitcoins. And they have a reason why for that, because they don't want people to get scammed into, sending Bitcoins to a weird address. I'll go into that later on. But with Coinbase, you can actually send, receive Bitcoins, and you can store them on a different, on a cold wallet, which is basically on a thumb drive. But that's for advanced users. Don't do it. If you're a beginner, stick with Coinbase. So you guys can go to coinbase.com and you can go ahead and get started. And when you sign in, they're going to ask for your ID. I think they do also ask for your social security number. I can't remember, but it does take some time to get set up and to get validated. And that is because, because people are putting people are putting a lot of money into Bitcoin. So they want to make sure that everything is secure and that your identity is also validated as well. So that's one place you guys can go ahead and get your Bitcoins. I highly recommend Coinbase. If you're kind of an advanced user and you've already have Bitcoins in Coinbase, you might want to go to Binance. Binance does give you other options of buying other types of cryptocurrencies. I'll get into that in a little bit. Kraken does as well. Gemini is limited. But for the most part, I think, hey guys, stick with Coinbase for now. And if you want to kind of get into the more advanced stuff, go ahead and go with Kraken and Binance. Gemini would probably be my last pick, but again, they're super secure. And actually, a fun fact, Gemini is actually founded by the Winklevoss twins, who were the guys who were the original creators of Facebook. Obviously, we all know now that Mark Zuckerberg ended up, stealing the ideas from the twins. And it's funny, there's some irony in this because Mark Zuckerberg created this social media, Facebook, which pretty much invades everybody's privacy. But Gemini is a platform that really protects your privacy. So, that's also become a very valuable thing, is privacy. Trust is also another form of value, and which is why Bitcoin has become very valuable again. All right, so let's go on to the next slide. Why Bitcoin, and is it important and safe? It is becoming more widely adopted by a bunch of countries out there, which again, it's gaining a lot of popularity. People are putting a lot of trust in Bitcoin. So because it is secured and it is encrypted by the blockchain, that's the reason why a lot of these big companies such as Tesla, company or the city of Miami is now buying Bitcoin as a store value for the reserves. And like I said, the USA made a really huge move on this by allowing people to go ahead and buy Bitcoin instead of banning it. Again, the blockchain technology plays a huge role in Bitcoin. So again, guys, as you start reading into other crypto stuff and you start reading about new technologies, you guys are going to start hearing this blockchain. When you guys hear that word, go ahead and research, look into it. It's a really phenomenal technology. I can kind of go into, why it's so important, but that would have to be for a different time. But I don't want to confuse anybody and, and get off track over here. But another reason why it's important is that, as of yesterday, the market cap for Bitcoin has hit $1 trillion. That is big. And pretty much what we're saying is there's $1 trillion that is in circulation of Bitcoin. And, a lot of people are making a lot of, assumptions that, hey, it might hit 2 trillion, 3 trillion, 4 trillion, 5 trillion. As right now, there's about $37 trillion in circulation in the entire USA. And if you would measure in dollars how much circulation in dollars is in the globe, that's $94 trillion. So if you really think about how all these countries are investing and adopting Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, $1 trillion is nothing compared to what's really coming in the future. Another reason why it's important is that you get to be your own bank. Again, this is very beneficial for people who are in third world countries who are not able to get access to a bank account, which is, so that they can go ahead and exchange funds or get paid. So people in Africa, like in Nigeria right now, Nigeria was one of the biggest players in this too. Nigeria was one of the biggest players here because it was really hard for those people to get a bank account, and because they got Bitcoin, they were able to kind of go ahead and start trading money and be able to have wealth as well. So that's becoming a big thing too. Again, you can send Bitcoin anywhere in the world. And one of the biggest things right here is the U.S. Security Exchange Commission considered Bitcoin as a store of value and a means of exchange for goods and services. That's really big. Basically, what the U.S. government is saying is we recognize it as you guys to go ahead and store value and be able to buy goods and services. That is huge, which is why cities like Miami are able to buy Bitcoin as well. And the U.S. government also made another really good move, is that they also started their own, not necessarily their own crypto. Well, yes, they did start their own cryptocurrency, but it's not like what everybody's thinking. It's not like something where if you buy the USD crypto coin, is going to grow in value. Those coins are more like a stable coin. For people just to go ahead and deposit the money in and be able to use that crypto USD coin to buy other things with it. But I'll get into that in a little bit more. So how can I invest in Bitcoin when it's so expensive, and is it too late? And did I miss the train? So I'm going to say yes, you can. Obviously, yes, you can still invest in Bitcoins. It is not late. You don't need to own an entire Bitcoin to invest. Okay, so Bitcoins are broken down to 8 decimal points. So you can have half a Bitcoin, which is 0.5000, or you can get 0.000230999 of a Bitcoin, or you can get 0.0000009 of a Bitcoin. And these units are called Satoshis. So in this case I would have 9 Satoshis. In this case I would have 230,999 Satoshis. So 8 million Satoshis equals 1 Bitcoin. And again, Satoshis have value as well. And are you late? You're not late. It's guys, it's still early on right now. But I know a lot of people are thinking, how am I able to invest when Bitcoin is only when Bitcoin is what it's about to hit $60,000 right now.
Yeah, it's about to hit 60.
Yeah. So so yeah, it's about to hit $60,000 now. So let's see. Let me pull up a price chart really quick, guys. Let's move this thing. See, I had it over here. I got a bunch of stuff on my screen. Give me a second. There we go. Nope, not that one. Where is it? There you go. All right. So a lot of people think, you know, right now it's about to hit $60,000, which is, whew, I mean, that is huge. So what ends up happening right now, we're in the middle of a bull run. So all this cryptocurrency, you know, pretty much Bitcoin, it is skyrocketing right now. Eventually the price will drop, and that's normal. That always happens, and it will probably drop a lot, you know. But you know that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest. I would still keep investing in just, and I'll go over that in a little bit. But there are times where Bitcoin has dropped, you know, let's say at this point in 2017, March 12th, Bitcoin was worth about $1,000. And then in April, let's see if I can get it there. Oop. I'm trying to get to this right. There's a little dip right there, and it's April 14th. Anyways, well, you can kind of see when you guys get a chance to take a look, Bitcoin dropped to 60 cents in one day. There's a reason for that. I won't go into specifics, but it's not because somebody breached, you know, Bitcoins or the network was compromised. Well, sometimes what ends up happening is somebody, you know, ends up getting access to their hard drives, and in that hard drive ends up being like 100,000 Bitcoins, and they end up selling it, and that will cause the price to drop. But if you really think about it, Bitcoin was about $1,000, and when it dropped to 60 cents that one day, there you go, 6 cents. That one day, it was at 6 cents, and the next day it jumped right up back to $1,000. So will this happen again? Probably not at 6 cents, but will it drop back down maybe to $1,000 in a day? Maybe that might happen. But what does that mean? That means, hey, if you are tracking Bitcoin, that is a really good time, and act fast and buy. Because if you bought Bitcoins at 6 cents and you just ended up buying $5 worth of Bitcoins, 6 cents, I mean, you have a shit ton of money right now. So will that happen again to 6 cents? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. But we all know that the price of Bitcoin will go down, and what always ends up happening is that Bitcoin always ends up resetting itself. So you can kind of see how it's really huge spike right here, which hits, you know, it went from $1,000 and it shot up to $20,000, and then it resets itself, and then it ends up, you know, kind of hovering between these values here, and then now we kind of end up getting to the bull run right here, where now it's just skyrocketing, and it's just going really high. But that's a good sign. That's pretty much saying that a lot of people are now trusting in Bitcoin, and they really see Bitcoin as a very good asset. So here's another thing. Bitcoin could one day be worth $500,000 or more. And I'll get into that in just a second. And that's because there is a limited supply. There's 21 million Bitcoins. The last Bitcoin will be mined around the year 2070. Back then, people said that the last Bitcoin might be mined in the year 2140. So that kind of tells you how long this is going to be around, and it's going to be around much longer, because once it's mined, that doesn't mean, okay, it's done, it's over, everyone shut your networks off. No, I mean, the network is still going to be going, the miners are still going to be running that blockchain because it serves a really good purpose. So how did I get to, you know, $500,000? You know, let's kind of go back to what I was talking about before, and that was how much money is in circulation in the world, and I said there was $94 trillion. But let's say let's say Bitcoin even goes to even $15 trillion, because let me tell you something, guys. If you guys hear about old money, you guys hear about new money, you guys hear about, tech money, but when you hear about crypto money, I think this is definitely going to put things in a much higher bracket. I mean, if we're here in trillions, Bitcoin, I mean, not Bitcoin, but cryptocurrency, we might just see quintillions. I could be wrong, but it's going to get high up there. And when I talked about $94 trillion of circulation, again, we're also leaving out people who are in third world countries. So let's go ahead and do some quick math over here. So let's see, that is 15 billion. And now let's see. All right, 15 billion. All right, so that's $15 trillion right there. And then when the last Bitcoin is mined, or let's just say even right now, 19 million coins are now in circulation at this current moment. So we'll divide that by 19 million. Sorry, guys. So you can kind of see that about $700,000 would be worth of Bitcoin if there's a market cap of $15 trillion. So that could be possible. So the one thing that Bitcoin tends to keep doing is it ends up exceeding expectations. I remember back in 2011, a lot of people talked about how Bitcoin will be worth $1,000, $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. And I remember somebody even said, well, it was actually Kim.com, if you guys know who that is. He even said that Bitcoin would one day be worth $100,000. And so far, it's hit every mark that everybody has said, and it's gone beyond. Most people said they will never see that type of money, and it has. We're now in 2021, and again, it's still early. And that's because none of the Bitcoins, that's because we haven't mined all the Bitcoins yet. Right now, there's a little over 19 million in circulation. We're getting close to 21 million, but because, like I said, the closer you get to 21 million, the closer you get to the last Bitcoin to mine, the harder these computers have to work to solve these mathematical equations. So again, this is another thing that makes Bitcoin very, 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 very valuable. So another thing is that, hey, is Bitcoin the only thing out there? And you're wondering, are there other cryptocurrencies out there? And the answer is yes. There is a list of, this is just a small list of there's a small list of just Bitcoins here. Cryptocurrencies that are here. And we can actually go to Coinbase really quick, and we can see what currencies they have. So let's take a look really quick. We can go ahead and browse the assets. And here there is a list of other cryptocurrencies, crypto tokens. The list goes on. You got about 138 pages of all this stuff. So let's talk about other cryptocurrencies real quick. Since we're on the subject, we have Bitcoin and we have Ethereum. Ethereum is the #2 cryptocurrency out there, and I don't want to confuse people, but pretty much Bitcoin is another blockchain that supports smart contracts. So let's take a look at the value of Ethereum. It was $2,000. $2,000 yesterday, and it's been gaining some really great momentum. And before, it was at $1.06. And honestly, guys, Ethereum is going to play a really huge role in the future because of smart contracts. Ethereum is not necessarily it's not like Bitcoin. Bitcoin will always be the mother. It'll always be #1. It'll always be the driver. If Bitcoin is doing well, all these other currencies are going to be doing very well as well. If Bitcoin is doing really bad and the value is going down, expect everything else to go down with it too. But when it skyrockets, everything is going to skyrocket as well. But pay attention to Ethereum and pretty much the technology in this. And again, it's called a smart contract. You guys will hear that in the future. And I mean, people are already making applications already on it right now, like Polkadot, Cardano, Chainlink, you know, the list goes on. But to show you guys, here is the USD coin. It's $1. That's what it is. The USD coin is just $1, and that's a stable coin right there. There's really no value going up and down. Again, so then we have Cardano. Cardano runs on the Ethereum system blockchain. And right now that's at $1.16. So, and there's Polkadot as well. That's at $40. So you guys really want to do some research and take a look at some of these coins and tokens, you know, and invest in them if you guys really want to. So let's go on to the next list, and that is, will I be rich from Bitcoin? And that really depends on you guys. You know, it really depends how much you really want to invest, how much you want to put money into cryptocurrencies. But again, that comes with a risk, and that risk is you will see when you put your money into these cryptocurrencies, just like a stock market, you guys will see your money lose in value. But that's because Bitcoin has the ability to be very volatile. And because of that, you know, some people get really emotional about it and, you know, don't want to be part of this crypto market either. But one way to go ahead and start investing is start a reoccurrence of maybe to $50 to $100 a month. And over time, you will see some really, really nice gains. And again, you guys, what you want to do is you want to diversify what you're investing. Does it have to be Bitcoin only? No. Like I showed you guys, there's other cryptocurrencies out there you guys can invest that can be extremely valuable over time. All right. And also, when you're investing in these cryptocurrencies, think long term. Do not use cryptocurrency as a form of let's get rich quick, because if you use that get rich quick, you might make those riches real quick, but let me tell you, you will lose those riches real fast. And it's very risky. Some people have tried to get rich quick and they threw all their life savings in there. They put a ton of money in there only to really lose it, and they cash out and, you know, pretty much walked away with very little money. You can trade Bitcoins just like you can trade on the stock market, which is very risky. If you're an extremely advanced person, go ahead, do it, but it's at your own risk. You guys can do that on the Binance, platform. Again, you can do that on Kraken, and you can do it on Binance as well. You can do some in Gemini as well. But if you guys want to go ahead and start trading, I would go ahead and look into Kraken and Binance. And when I say, you know, you guys can lose a lot of money doing trading, is that there are some platforms out there who are going to promise you returns. I would question those. You know, if you want to trade, go ahead and trade smart. You know, don't try to trade a ton of money. Don't try to take that get rich quick approach, because you'll lose a lot of money. So, but if you take Bitcoin trading as, hey, I'm going to trade and I'm going to make some gains here and there, and do it steadily, I think you would have a better outcome and have some better gains that way, because, you know, again, because the crypto market is extremely volatile, there is a lot of risks there. But if you guys don't want to trade, again, go to Coinbase, put your money there, and it's safe, and you don't have to be trading by selling, you know, selling high, buying low, selling high, and buying low. So also, Bitcoin can be an emotional roller coaster, so grab on. It's going to be a wild ride, and hold on for the long run. Again, you will invest your money and you will see that money drop. And I've been a victim of this too in the past, where I ended up investing in Bitcoins and I saw that money drop and I got scared and I said, fuck that. I'm sorry if there's any kids listening, forget that. I'm selling my Bitcoins and I sold it. And next thing you know, because I was emotional about my investments, I saw Bitcoin going, climbing high and skyrocketing. And again, always losing up on an opportunity. What you don't want to be, another thing I want to point out is 10 years from now, you don't want to be that guy that says, I should have invested in Bitcoins 10 years ago. All right, that keeps happening over and over and over time, where people are just seeing this price of cryptocurrencies go up and up and up and up, and because they keep seeing it go up, they feel like that they can't invest, and and that shouldn't discourage you. But if once your value of your investments go down, that is probably a really good time to also start throwing some more money in there, because as you've seen, as history has shown, is that these prices are going up. Okay, so so again, just make sure you guys do your research. So again, don't panic when you guys see your Bitcoins drop like at a 19%, 30%, or 100%. A lot of people who freaked out and lost, there's a lot of people who did freak out and just held on to their coins and just kept buying and buying and buying and buying. And then, over time, it was very well worth the risk that they ended up taking. So make sure you guys keep calm and buy your Bitcoins. All right, so don't freak out. So another thing you guys also want to please, 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 please avoid scams. Okay, and that is fake exchanges. Only go to the exchanges that I've told you. Those are very very trustworthy. Don't give into free giveaways. If you guys see anything that says, "Oh, you sign up and you'll get 5 Bitcoins," or if you guys see Facebook pages where people are trying to offer Bitcoins, do not do it. Do not take it. Don't even talk to those people. Don't even click on a link that they give you. People will also impersonate other people. There's malware. There's people who want to meet in person, which is another risky thing. I don't need to meet with you in person to make Bitcoin exchanges. Here's my address and go ahead and send me your Bitcoins. But again, don't don't trade with anybody or send Bitcoins to anybody you guys don't know or don't trust. So another money transfer fraud. There's people out there who say, hey, give me, if you transfer these funds here, you'll get these Bitcoins. Don't do that. Don't click on phishing emails, phishing websites, and most of all, pyramid schemes. Guys, I'm going to tell you, I was an idiot. I was a victim of a pyramid scheme. Back in 2017, I think it was, I joined this group, and basically what you had to do is recruit these people, and the more people you recruit and you get them to send Bitcoins to a certain address, the more Bitcoins you would get, blah, 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 blah. It sounded really nice. It sounded great, but you don't trust them, guys. The only way you should get Bitcoins is just putting your money into Coinbase, Binance, or Gemini. That's the only way you should do it. Do not give into any pyramid schemes. I made these mistakes, and I'm telling you guys, I'm telling you for a reason, because you guys don't have to sacrifice your guys' Bitcoins at all. Another thing is prize giveaways. Don't, if someone says, sign up and you'll get a really high Bitcoin reward. There are some like Coinbase. If you refer a friend on Coinbase and they make their first $100 deposit, you will get $5 in Bitcoins, but that's because you referred a friend, and that's fine. And the number one thing is never, ever, ever, ever show off your Bitcoins. Do not tell people how much Bitcoins you have. Do not tell people how much money you have in Bitcoins. Don't try to show off. Don't try to come off as that you're being rich, because let me tell you something. There's people listening, and there's people who are very sophisticated who you would never, never, ever expect. who will try to get those Bitcoins out of you. As somebody once said, there is one really good way to get somebody's Bitcoin, and that's the $5 wrench. Somebody can buy a wrench for $5 and hit you over the head until you finally give up your passwords, and so that they can steal your Bitcoins. Okay, so again, please do everything you can to avoid these scams and just go to the exchanges that are trusted and buy your Bitcoins there. So next thing we want to talk about is what is the future of money. The future of money will be changing. Will be changing and most likely moving over to cryptocurrencies because of its decentralized platforms. There will be lots, there will be lots of billionaires made, lots of millionaires made. Also, wealth will be widely distributed, especially in poor countries. You're going to start seeing, not millionaires now. In the future, millionaires are going to be, yes, very wealthy people, but you're also going to see a shit ton of billionaires as well. Billionaires are going to be a more widely spread thing. Also, millionaires too. So that's pretty much where the future is heading with these currencies. So another thing too, the Federal Reserve has printed an absurd amount of money, which will cause a really huge inflation. But the real good thing about cryptocurrency is that inflation does not affect cryptocurrencies. Okay, which is a very good thing, which is really important because no government has any ties to Bitcoins. They can't manipulate it. So if somebody's government takes a dump, the cryptocurrencies are not going to take a dump with it. Can other countries ban Bitcoins? Yes. Like I said, China in the beginning, there was a lot of people underground who were mining Bitcoins, but the government found out and started cracking down on these countries. India right now is kind of going through that because India right now, what they're trying to do is implement another type of currency, but they are going through some, right now what they're trying to do is actually ban Bitcoin. But unfortunately, the way the momentum is going, the way, the value of Bitcoin is going is, and because it is decentralized, they really can't stop us. They really can't, so then what ends up happening is that these countries are now going to be forced to adopt Bitcoin, which again will be another really good thing in the future. Like I said before, we are still in the early stages. One thing in the future is that your money will be working for you, and I will tell you in the next few slides on how that's going to work. Fiat money will be a thing of the past. I mean, right now, the way our money is, the US dollar is a fiat currency. They're pretty much IOUs. So the way money works is, especially with the US dollar, is for every 100 cents equals $1. But that's not the case. So the way it works is like about 60 cents, and then you add an IOU equals $1, which is why you're having this really bad inflation. Which is why over time, if you're getting paid $20 an hour because of inflation, your $20 is pretty much $19 the next year, then $18 the next year. And that's because the cost of living keeps going up, and then you also have inflation as well. So again, fiat money is really proving to be a really bad way to circulate money. So so next one, I know you guys pretty much came on here, is how can I profit from it? How can I make money? We're all here to really make money. I'm not gonna lie, money does make the world go round. But that's because if you really got to think about what money really is. And money is a form of energy. And I know that sounds a little weird and kind of dumb, but when you really think about it, money can be used as a form of momentum to get people to compete, and it's used for other forms as well. And if you can really think about money being in that way, you can really shift your thinking how money really is. Money shouldn't really be a means of, it is a means of just buying, clothes, cars, and whatnot. But if you can really understand that money can be a tool, then you really can start making some really nice money there. So how can I profit from it? So number one is never stop investing. Returns can be well over 400% over time. Invest in other tokens, and make sure you guys diversify. So one thing you guys want to think about too is earned income. Your portfolio and passive income is key. So earned income is pretty much the money that you make when you're working your jobs or what you're being paid. Whatever you do, try to maximize that. Try to do whatever you can to get a raise. Try to make sure that you go from making $40,000 to 50 to 60 to 80 to 100 to 120, 130, 140. Try to do that. It's not easy, but you can do it. But the way to do that is to always improve on yourself, improve on your knowledge, always make sure that you always have a really good work ethic, and that's how you can really improve on your earned income. Another thing is your portfolio. Your portfolio could be your cryptocurrencies, where you diversify in different types of currencies, and you can also invest in different types of stocks as well. And then you have your passive income, which is key, right? So which is the next bullet point over here, which is staking your coins and earn about 6 to 12% of annual percentage yield. That's pretty much where your money is working for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at what I'm talking about over here. So staking your coins. So pretty much what you can do is that you can buy, let's say you buy $1,000 worth of Ethereum or $1,000 of this cryptocurrency, or this one, Cosmos, or Tezos, or DAI. So if you guys think about just like how your savings account, which is kind of a joke, and what I mean by that is, banks tell you, oh, if you put your money in savings account, you'll get a 0.01 interest back in savings, which is pretty much nothing. That's a real joke right there. But when you put your money in Ethereum and these other cryptocurrencies, you'll get paid out 7.5%, 6%, 5%, and the list goes on. But there are other platforms where you can stake your coins and make money passively. So Kraken is another place. So if you invest in Polkadot and you stake your coins, you can earn up to 12%. This one too, 12%, 4.5%. Flow will give you a 20% return. Now, when you guys get into 20% returns, that is kind of questionable. Sometimes that can be a very, very unstable coin right there, and you can probably lose some money there. Ethereum too. They'll give you 5 to 17%, Cosmos 7%, Tezos 5.5%. Again, and that's pretty much earning rewards and earning money. Just letting them circulate your money, and you can earn income that way. So another thing to think about is when you're staking your coins and you're making those gains.
I think a good thing to reference is that on a savings account, you're most likely going to get an APY of 0.05%.
Yeah.
So even if the coin gives you 1%, but it's still way much higher than the bank will give you on a savings account.
Yes, that's right. So thanks, Brian. And I think that's my nephew, Brian, there. Yeah. So again, that's really great. So you can take those gains, guys, and put them in other coins. Put them in other, if you're staking coins and you're making gains on that, put them in Bitcoins, put them in Ethereum. Your money can just keep growing. Guys, and the thing is that I know this sounds really too good to be true. But I know it sounds like that, but again, because it is a decentralized platform, the power is in the people's hands. You don't have a centralized government running this stuff. I think people are going to really understand what is the potential of money really is and how money really works. Again, a lot of these top elites, the reason why they make so much money is because they use these methods. That's why they get so rich, right? But now we're taking the power out of their hand and putting it into the pretty much the citizen, the private citizen, you, me, anybody who's a private citizen can now make some real money. And that's why I keep saying I think we're about to see a lot of money circulating in the crypto market. And I think it's going to make a lot of people wealthy. And I think it's going to be a very good thing for the globe as well. And it's also, I think that also, it's also going to be one of those things where it ends corruption in money, right? Because it is a public centralized system. You will see where the money is going. I can go into other things down the line and keep going and going and going. But again, it's going to be a very beneficial thing for us. Also, think compound interest. Plus your crypto will grow in value. And also, again, I keep talking about this. Take your emotions out. Do not invest in emotions. So I also want to show you guys something really quick. I'm not sure if you guys have ever done this before, but let's see. Where is this? Okay, there we go. Let me go ahead and reset this. All right, so let's think about compound interest, right? So if right now on your total investment, say like you end up putting $500 into your investment, and then every month you end up putting like $200 a month for the next 25 years, right? At an interest rate, I mean, I'm going to be very conservative right now, and I'm going to say 10%. Let's see, so 10% annually, calculate that. So pretty much in 25 years, you can end up having about $200,000, but I'm being really shy over here. But if we end up changing that 25 years to maybe 35, or actually to 30, let's add another 5 years to that. Let's see what that brings us. You're already almost at $500,000, right? So let's kind of, take it another step further. See, you end up investing $300 every month for the next 20 years, right? And let's add maybe just 12%, because one thing you have to think about, guys, is that these cryptocurrencies are growing real high in numbers. So let's go ahead and calculate it. So again, 20 years, $200,000, but let's go ahead and do 30 years. You're almost at $1 million, and that's because you're compounding your interest. I mean, that's really huge, right? But let's say you save up some money and you put down $4,000, and then from here on out, you're going to end up putting maybe $100 a month for the next 35 years at a rate of, again, 13%. Let's go ahead and do that. I mean, you're getting close to $1 million right there. So the more money you put down, and again, this is why I talk about making sure you guys increase your earning income. So if you guys can end up doing $300 a month, right? $2 million in 35 years. But let's say you really want to get aggressive. Let's say you're making lots of money and you can put down $650 a month that you can put aside, or maybe you and your wife or you and your partner can split and put in $650 a month for the next let's say 25 years, right? Again, that's $1 million, but what happens if you just add another 5 years? That's already 2 mil in 30 years. And I'm being very, very conservative with this number right there. And again, because there's a lot of factors that are being played when it comes to the crypto market. So we're getting close to the end. I know it's been going over an hour now. I don't want to take up too much of you guys' time. So let's get into other things really quick. So, and we're pretty much in the end over here. So what else is out there in the crypto market? There's smart contracts. Also, there's non-fungible tokens. Non-fungible tokens is another thing that's coming out too. And let's say you are an artist, right? Let's say you make paintings, you make digital art. You can make non-fungible tokens with this digital art and mint it. You can mint it, and let's say somebody wants to buy it. they can buy that artwork. And basically what that minting says is that it's authentic and it's made by you. And you can also set 10% of royalties. So if somebody sells your artwork, you will get 10% in royalties in that. So think about that. You can do that with digital art, digital media. You can do it with music. Say you end up making music and somebody, you know, ends up selling your track. You can make money off of that too. Again, there's stable coins as well. There's encrypted emails. There's decentralized internets. There's mining and other coins, which you can do as well. So let me kind of bring that up as well really quick. Let's see. I'll just do it this way. So we talked about mining Bitcoins earlier and how, you know, it's costing so much money to go ahead and mine. There's another system called the Helium network. So pretty much what you can do is you can mine, stake, and you can use this Helium network. So if you go to mine, you can go here and you can buy some of these devices here, and you can mine some of their currencies. I mean, their coins, and I wouldn't say currency, that's different. But you have an outdoor miner, an indoor miner, you have a hotspot miner, and this one's coming out later on. But and that's called a Helium token. So let's take a look at the Helium token right now. At the current moment, the Helium token is at $4.28. So and let's see, actually, let's see what it was. Let's take a look at another website, Coinbase right here. So right now it's at $4.29, right? And in December, yes, last year, October, you know, 80 cents. So let's take a minute and let's really think about what we're doing over here. So you can go ahead and stake your coins, buy Bitcoins, invest in some of these Helium miners. You probably won't be making like $100,000-$200,000 of Helium tokens, but you might make some money that's just sitting there and it doesn't draw a lot of power. So if you end up investing, you know, in some of these, this could be making you some passive income, right? While you're out there working, making that earned income, this thing is also making you income, and you're also staking your coins as well. Again, so this is putting a lot of power into our hands. And because it's decentralized, a lot of governments can't do anything. Like the US government, there's really much they can't do. The only thing they can really do is probably, you know, not pretty much cut access to that website. But, you know, again, when something gets too big and everyone ends up using it, the government then has no option but to adopt that. Like in the past, you know, what ends up happening, like in the past, people ended up using salt as a form of currency. Then we moved over to rice as a form of currency because that was just really heavy to carry around, right? Then we end up using tobacco as a form of currency, but then that too was also becoming very cumbersome. And then you end up going into coins, gold and silver, but that ended up becoming a problem too. And then, you know, and then money has been dollars and paper cash has been circulating for a very long time, and then that ended up, you know, proposing a problem too. But then so people keep gravitating to something that's better and better and better and better and better and better and better. So I think right now this is where we're moving to. We're now moving to a world of cryptocurrencies, which is definitely better than fiat money. Until maybe 200 years from now, by the time we're under the ground, someone's probably going to find something that's better than cryptocurrencies. I don't know. I could be wrong. This could be the one. But again, we are moving into a world where the money is becoming better, what is easily accessible, and it works more for the citizen as well. So pretty much that does it for all my slides here. I'm going to go ahead and take a look if anybody has any questions. I'm looking at the chat box over here. So it says, what do you mean that the last Bitcoin is going to be mined? So like I said, the last Bitcoin going to be mined. Right now, the miners are mining Bitcoins. Like I said, right now, there is a circulation of 19 million. When the first Bitcoin was mined, it was obviously 0. Then it went to 500, then 1,000, then 20,000, then 30,000, 100,000, 5 million, 10 million. And now we have 19 million Bitcoins in circulation. And there's only a set finite number of 21 million Bitcoins that could ever be out in circulation, which makes it super rare, which makes it extremely valuable. And some people say, well, what about gold? Right? What, gold is also rare too. It is. Gold is rare too. But another thing that we have, another thing that's coming up now is that we do have asteroids that are orbiting close to Earth that do contain gold. And NASA and SpaceX and other countries are now looking into mining gold in space. So now that takes out the rarity for gold. So then the price of gold, the value of gold will go down because now we can mine that gold in space as well. So let's see if there's any other questions. Nope. I don't see anything. Does anybody have any questions that they have that you want me to answer before I drop off? Maybe you guys are typing a question. I don't know. Do you think an individual should be mining Bitcoin? I would say no. Do not. You're very welcome, Sean. I would not be mining Bitcoin right now, only because it's really expensive and it really requires a lot of computation power. There are other ways where you can be a validator or a node. We do get rewards, but you have these small little mining devices that you can go ahead and start mining Bitcoin. But hey, you know what? If you can find a way how to mine Bitcoin with the least amount of usage of power, and you can start mining Bitcoin, why not? Go ahead and do it. But if you're actually going to be investing like tens of thousands of dollars or $100,000s of dollars of which obviously, I don't know if you guys have that money. I don't, but I probably wouldn't recommend that route. But if you can find a way how to have the least amount of power draw and mine Bitcoins, then go ahead and do it. Let it sit there, let it do its thing for the next 5-10 years. Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should be doing that too. But there's other ways to let's see, any idea on getting a group chat for group investing to notify each other when the markets are down to buy? So that's a little, yes, I mean, you can. You can join Reddit, you can join Discord. One thing, you can, Twitter is probably the best way you can find where these prices are going down and when to buy. But again, I wouldn't wait years and months to buy. I'd probably just buy and just hold. But the best way to get this, and when I'm done with all this, I'll go ahead and send this video. I'll send you guys links, who to follow on Twitter, who to follow on YouTube, so that because they're pretty much giving you the information on a daily basis where the cryptocurrency is going and all that. And make sure you turn on your notifications. And that way you can always stay up to date. If you guys, I'll probably be saying something on Instagram too. I'll say something on Facebook as well. So I'll always be in the know. One thing to do is to also, get a widget on your phone and just make sure, you're following, how much, where the market is at every single day. Once you start really getting into Bitcoins and you follow the market and you know how it works, you kind of start understanding how all this is going. So I'm going to tell you right now, A lot of people are pretty much predicting that towards the end of the year, this is where the price drop of Bitcoin is going to hit, which is probably going to be in October, later on in this year. So you might see this $50,000 Bitcoin drop all the way down back to 20,000, 10,000, and then it'll reset itself, probably staying afloat in 15,000 for the next 5-10 years. I don't know. But that's one way to try to keep tabs. It's really hard. No one can really tell you, oh, in next month. Well, let's put it this way. In stock markets, you can have hedge funds pump the stock market and make the price on certain stocks go low, which could be a bad thing, but it's also good for hedge funds. But again, it would be bad for people like us, retail people. That's one way, but I'll send out a bunch of information for you guys to follow and where to stay always up to date. What other coins would you recommend or would or will be profitable for the coin holder like Bitcoin? Good question. So let's see. That is probably, let's see. Let's go to Coinbase real quick. It's really hard to say, but we can make some really good guesses. Some that are making some momentum. Again, you can buy Ethereum. Some people are saying Ethereum is probably going to hit $20,000. Who knows? Cardano, that's another one. That's $1.15. Let's see what else. I know a lot of people are talking about Dogecoin. Let's talk about Dogecoin for a bit over here. It started off as a meme coin. If you guys want to go ahead and put money in there and let's see if something happens with it, go ahead. But because there's an unlimited supply, I would probably not try to put a lot of money in as a form of investment. Dogecoin what can end up with Dogecoin is it could be an everyday transaction type of use. Because it's such a low, the cost is so low, and being able to make a transaction is pretty fast. Hey, it's probably going to be one of those things. Another one would probably be VeChain. That's another one. A lot of people are investing in Binance Coin. This Binance Coin, again, was at 10 cents, and now it's at 262. Again, there's a specific guy who I follow who's always up to date, and I'll send you guys that. Ethereum Classic, that could be another one too, because what's going to end up with Ethereum Classic is that it's going to roll out. Here's what's happening with Ethereum. Because of Ethereum, there's this thing called gas prices on Ethereum, when you have to run other softwares on Ethereum, and then you have to pay these gas fees, which is really high, and it's because of the blockchain, and it's being overloaded, and the blockchain can't keep up. So that's where they're coming up with Ethereum Classic to come up to pretty much, it's basically a rollout of this new Ethereum protocol. So I would invest in that too. But will it be? If you guys are thinking, will there ever be a coin that will be like Bitcoin, that will be like $56,000, that will have this kind of volatility? I don't know. My answer on that one is really hard to say. It really is. But are there other things that are profitable? Take a look at Cardano price. Right, it's at 115, but we also have to take a look at the market cap. Here you go. You have to look at the market cap right now. We're at $35 billion, so it's showing some really good momentum there and showing some sort of good promise. There's about 10 billion already in circulation, and there's already 31 billion Cardano coins already in circulation as well. So that's one thing. So that's one way to kind of stay on top of this. Let me talk about XRP really quick. Right now, it's going through some shit right now. It's going through some battles with the SEC, where it's saying it's not a form, it's not a currency, it's not a store of value, it is a security. which is kind of going through some issues with the federal government here in the USA. Chainlink, that's another one that's going to be very promisable because they're providing another service. So another thing that you guys have to really keep in mind is some of these are projects, right? They're pretty much projects. Let me go back to my coin over here. I mean, to my slide. Keep in mind, there's something called ICOs, initial coin offerings, just like how you guys have heard of initial public offerings, like in stocks, where Facebook or other companies announce that they're not being publicly traded, and you can go ahead and buy these stocks at a very low price, and then they end up going high up. Initial coin offerings is kind of the same thing, right? Another thing I want to point out to you guys as well is some stocks that are so let's go to blockchain stocks. So like how we talked about, there are companies out there who are running blockchain technology. You have Riot Blockchain. This one is now valued at $71. And about a year ago, this was at $2, right? I'm going to tell you guys something too. I made another really dumb, mistake. But again, it's your emotions. You guys have to learn how not to put your emotions into this. I bought this around like 90 cents, and I sold it around around here $10. Because I just didn't. Again, I'm now following my mantra, which is pretty much buy and hold, and I'm sticking to that. If I lose, that's fine. I'm gonna suck it up and just stick with it, because now it's it's now $71. Marathon is another good one. That's at $43, right? So if you guys bought GameStop stock and AMC stock or any of those, I'd probably sell those and probably put it into these. Overstock, actually, I'm sorry, Hive blockchain. So the Hive blockchain is also traded on the stock market, but it's traded on the over-the-counter markets. That is not on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange, which is completely different. If you have Robinhood or Webull, you will not be able to access these stocks. One place to actually go to get these stocks is the Charles Schwab account. You guys can sign up, get a Charles Schwab account, and you guys can start investing in some of these stocks. And the real good thing about these stocks is that if Bitcoin's doing really good, these stocks are doing very great as well. So I will be transparent, and I'll say that, hey, I've actually invested in Hive. I've invested in Hut 8 mining. I've also invested in DMG blockchain. I've also invested in Argo. Another one that might be promising as well is, where is it? I don't see them here. I know I saved it. I'll send you guys another one, but I'll send you guys a list of other stocks to keep in mind too. But if those do well, so far what I'm seeing, my stocks in these blockchain companies are doing very well. Again, in the future, a lot of these companies are going to start implementing blockchain technology, so it's something you guys want to keep a lookout. Again, because they're at a really cheap price. They're starting off, well, let's take a look at the Hive. Hive was at 50 cents, right? Dollar, and now it's going up, right? Because of Bitcoin. And because everyone's now adopting into the crypto market, a lot of these companies have been around for a very long time. Blockchain technology, or the concept, has been around like in the early 90s. It just never got that momentum, right? And probably a lot of big companies and banks found it threatening. And now here we are in this day and age, where now we're in a decentralized platform where we can implement blockchain technologies. So that's another thing. So, and is there any more other questions? Because I'm going to drop off and I'm going to save this video. And then later on, guys, I will send you guys a bunch of information that you guys can go ahead and start investing too. Any other questions? Okay. Well, I don't see any other questions. If you guys come up with any other questions, hey, feel free to send me a message. Feel free to text me. You guys can hit me up if you guys have. Some of you guys have my phone number. Some of you guys have me on Instagram. Some of you guys have me on Facebook. Please go ahead and hit me up. If you guys have any questions, I'll point you to the right direction. All right. Well, guys, it's been great. I really appreciate you guys coming out and supporting me. It's been great. I wasn't expecting this amount of people coming up, and I had a really great time doing this. And maybe I'll probably do this again in the future for some other stuff if you guys are interested. And again, thank you so much for your guys' support, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.